Good luck, everybody. Hope all is well. This is the recording for Sunday's class. So please listen to it. You will be responsible for anything that's mentioned here when we have the midterm. So it's important that you listen to it, notwithstanding the importance of Limud Torah and all the things that come with that. Okay, last Sunday we were discussing the parsha of the Sotah. So we had a lengthy discussion about the connection of the parsha of the Sotah to the parsha that came before. The parsha became before was a discussion of the gifts to the Kohanim, and we said so. Rashi had quoted that if a person gives is neglectful of giving the proper gifts to the Kohanim, so in the end he will need the Kohen vis-a-vis Sotah. The Midah Keneged Midah was his neglect of the Kohen will lead to him needing the Kohen, and then he'll have to bring his wife to the Kohen because of his neglect. So we had a lengthy discussion about how that the fact that it's a circular thing, and his actions will lead to his wife suspecting him of stealing, and all of that, because the punishment for neglecting the gifts of the Kohanim is oni. And we also said that a person who is unfaithful also becomes poor. That was the Klei Yakar. It says, I'll just read you this, the Klei Yakar. Smichos parsha zu lepasuk hakodem. He says the connection of this parsha to the parsha before. Perish Rashi is the Klei Yakar on pasuk Gibbeis. Imatam ma'ake matnos hakohen. If you hold back the gifts of the Kohen, chayecha shetitzarech lavo elav lahavilo es Sotah. Rashi says what will happen to you is that you'll need the Kohen, and you'll have to bring the Kohen, and you'll have to bring your wife as a Sotah to the Kohen. The Amar Rav Hosseinu, and the Klei Yakar goes on and says, the Gemara says in Masechah Sotah, Kol haba isha zona, someone who has relations with a promiscuous woman, a zona, laso, mevakesh kikar lecha meinu motze. In the end, he'll be looking for a loaf of bread, and he won't find, meaning he'll become shenema kivyad isha zona ad kikaga. Isha roa shabal abal lidei oni. So when a woman sees that her husband comes to poverty, he hoshato shabali de oni makba shaya roa zonos. So he suspects her. He suspects that the reason for his poverty is because he was having relations with women with other women, particularly zonos. Commotion Kosov, Aroa Zonas Yabed Hon. Berosam, Shepitom Yobed Hono, since she'll see that suddenly he loses his wealth, Shalok Yedercha Olam. Ubesiba Zet Tizne Gami Miachar Lomo, Iu Bekerev, Iu Bebotzini. And what will happen is that she will feel that if he could do it, I could do it too. So, two can play at that game. Ubesiba Zot Tizne Gami Miachar Lomo, Iu Bekerev, Iu Bebotzini. And that's why the Torah uses the word me'ila, which means somebody who negatively benefits from hegdish. Sheim tista ishto lasos sheim tista isho mala as bo ma'al ze'amal taliboki hua gorem la shetirtza lasos kemoso misadakshat. So Klei Yakar says that he caused her because he neglected the matnas guna, and he became poor, and that led her to think that he's sleeping around with zonos. So then she says she'll do the same thing, and so it's all a result of his avera of neglecting the gifts to the kohanim. The chose garam l'shumal b'kadshe kohen levilti tesla kohen es hakodesh. Because through that he'll come to poverty. And then she suspects him of doing promiscuous activity. And he says, and the truth will come through the water of the Sotah. Ki Chazal amru, v'nika aish me'avon, im hu menakem me'avon hamayim, vod kimosa. Because there's a give and take, that if he committed acts of adultery, or he was sleeping around with women that he shouldn't be with, so then the water won't help with her. It's a ish. If the ish is menuka me'ava, if the man is innocent, then the Sotah will help. Meaning the sin that's similar to hers. If he's committing the same sin that's similar to hers, so then the water is not going to work. Because if he's innocent for what his wife suspected him of, as dinu then the halacha is that the water of the Sotah will be the determining factor in her. But if he's not innocent, and she's right, the chashad shala emes, and in fact, what she said is truthful, ein din sheyivgedu hamayim, then the water will not help her, will not help him. Since he himself was involved, it's naslus. Mashama kisistes away, and then he goes on to explain. So essentially, the Klei Yakar says that it's a circular activity of Averos. That if the man is, so it starts off with neglecting the Kohen, and then by neglecting the Kohen he becomes poor, and then by becoming poor she then thinks that because poverty is also connected with being roya zoinas, with a woman, with a man who's involved with prostitutes, and anyway, so then she does it, and all that. And that's the pshat, that the din is that if he is innocent, if he doesn't do those activities, then the Sotah will help and determine whether she's guilty or not. But if he's involved in a similar averos, then it does not work. Right? And then he goes on to explain Mashenemaki sister lashon shtus. He says that the where she rebelled is a lesson of shtus, meaning stupidity. Afopi shekol chote nikra ksil v'shoter, even though every sinner is called a fool and an imbecile. Mikol makom perat lo mashi davka homia pisayos ubal yada ma garam lo haoni ki hayah lo lahavin sheiko matnos garam lo haoni. He says that she should have known, like Klei Yakar says, it was her foolishness that she thought that the reason for her husband's poverty was a result of her becoming of he was involved with Zonos. But what she should have realized is that he was neglectful in giving the gifts to the Kohanim, and because he was neglectful in giving the gifts to the Kohanim, that's why he became poor. So that was her foolishness in going in that direction and not reading the signs properly. Which obviously a tremendous message in life that we have to, I always mention this. Rabbi Frand calls his first book, "Listen to Your Messages," right? That in life we have to listen to our messages. Sometimes Hashem sends us messages. Sometimes Hashem sent us messages condemning the way we live our lives because we're not doing the right thing. She should have understood that he was not taking care of the Kohanim, that he wasn't giving Chumash and Maisus and all the things, the Reishis Hagez and all the different the 24 gifts that we have to give to the Kohanim. She should have realized that. She shouldn't have. Why did she have to think that he was that he was a Mazana, all of those things. And the other message is that the water only works, the Sotah only works if he's innocent. But if he's equally, today they have this horrible term they call open marriages. Where everybody where there's no faithfulness, where if the husband wants to sleep around, the wife wants to sleep around, it's all great. So obviously that is a tremendously it's one of the krumest hashkafa you could ever come up with. But the Torah tells us if you do that, then don't come to the Kohen and complain that your wife is mizana when you're doing the same thing. and I think that's a tremendous message. Anyway, and then he mentions something which is the next parsha in the Chumash that we're going to discuss. Uledas Chazal shekol haroa sotah b'kilkulo yazer atzum min hayayin. He said, so we're going to learn that the connection of the parshas of Nazir and Sotah is that if somebody sees a woman become a Sotah, so he's supposed to be he's supposed to become a Nazir. Why? Nakat lashon tistek yayin mivalbel sichlo shel adam. He says that because wine causes a person's brain to become messed up. Lahadi shemia leisha yain margil le'elva, and that's what it says that shenema yitfu harim asis samachle mayan beis Hashem yitzei vishkas nachal hashitim. Lafisha amru shemayan shel shitim migadel noafim. It says that the brook of the shitim raises adulterers. Shenema vayeshev Yisrael b'shitim vayachel la'am liznos el benos moav. Mi'achash amar yitfu harim asis tan ribu yain. Hutzrak lavticham sha'alidei al shalo yazik lahem riboy yain v'lo yivim they hergel averim. Lefi shemayan beis yetze v'hishka es nachal shitim v'chol makom she'ata motze gederva shama ata motze kedusha akein yetze amayim v'makom kodesh v'yirapes nachal shitim shalo yivim they hergel averim v'shutafot tahano yain. So, anyways, he goes on to say that wine plays an important role, that a person gets drunk and then they start doing terrible things. All the stories you hear, of things that happen at these college parties. It starts when everyone is drunk, everyone is drinking, and then terrible things happen, and everyone gets upset. Wow, the boy did this, or this happened, or that happened. Well, if Chazal told us that yayin is wine it can be a deadly. It can be a deadly drink. It could be a drink that causes terrible, terrible sins. And there's a tremendous message here of kedusha, because we see in life that the same item could be the most holiest thing, and could be the worst thing on the opposite end. Like wine. Wine is a perfect example of that. On the one hand, wine carries with it tremendous kedusha. Just from the very beginning, wine was poured on the mizbeach, right? V'nizko yayin revius sahin. Says in the pasuk that the libation of the wine was a revius. Now, the mizbeach had two canals on it, like two channels on it, one for wine and one for the water that they used to pour on sukkahs. So the wine that was poured with the korban had tremendous kedusha. We make kiddush on wine. We get married. We have a cup of wine. All Havdalah is on wine. But if you pervert the drink, it can become kisisteh ishto mal. It becomes a lashon of shtus. It becomes a terrible thing. And that's why the Gemara says that when you see a sotah, you have to be yazer min hayayin, because you took the drink that has such potential of kedusha that with it, and you turned it into a drink that has such terrible consequences in terms of the world of Averos. Anyway, so that's what the Klei Yakar says. We also mentioned the ma'ala. The word ma'ala comes from the word me'ila. So me'ila is a concept in halacha that is something that is consecrated, is mukdash to the Beis Hamikdash. So let's say you declare an animal. I want to give this animal as a korban to the Beis Hamikdash. So the halacha is you can't use that animal for anything else. Now you have to bring it to the Beis Hamikdash. It has the status of kedusha. So let's say you didn't realize that animal was being brought to the Beis Hamikdash, and you used it to plow in the field. So that's called me'ila. And you have to bring, it's one of the 5 examples where you have to bring a korban asham. It's called asham me'ilos. So that's an avera of me'ila. Now it's interesting because a marriage is called kedushin, right? The Masechta that talks about marriage is kedushin, right? Holiness. Me'ila is when you undo the holiness of the kedusha. So that's why the Torah uses the word uma'ala po'mal. Okay. Now. We got up to, I think, pasuk Gidal. Anyway, I just wanted to emphasize this, that I think we discussed it last week, but I just wanted re-emphasize this idea. Now, it says in the pasuk, "Ve'avar alav ruach kina," says that the husband was jealous. Okay, literally what the word means, and the spirit of jealousy passed over him. Now, so Rashi says, "Kodem listira." This is true before they were secluded. Okay. Ruach kina v'kine, perish rabbeinu lashon hasra, shemasra ba, al tistiri im ish plani. So what does it mean he was jealous? Like, who cares if jealous? No. So Rashi says that because he's jealous, so it says it really means a lashon of hasra, that he warns her that you're not allowed to be secluded with this man. I never want to see you, like, you can't go anywhere private with this man. Al tistari im ish ploni. You can't be with this man. Right. The Ibn Ezra comments on the word v'avar, Allah b'machshavta, that he had it in his head that that there's something no good that's taking place. The Sforno, interesting comments. Ruach tahara lahasros ba. Miyacha shiyada sheshatsta midarchet tznius. Right. It says that it's a ruach tahara, meaning he wants to fix the situation because he sees that the woman has left the path of tznius, and therefore he warns her to stay away so that she remains on the path of tznius. The kine asishto, that continues the Sforno, hisraba the Amar al tistarim ishploni. He warns her and says, don't be secluded with this man. O avar alav ruach kina, ruach shtus, bilti siba ru'uya sheikane. Right, so the pasuk says, or koloma he hasra above avar al hasra aso ve'enya. It says that. So he says that he may not have a good reason to warn her. It says aval. It says, "O avar alav ruach kina ruach shtus bilti siba ru'uya sheikane." Meaning that he didn't have a good reason, and he warned her. And then it says, "Oh, the he lo nitma." So Rashi says on that, "Oh, avar alav kolomar who hisra ba," he warned her. The avra al hasra aso, and she violated his warning. The ein yadua im nitma im la, but we don't know what happened. Like, they may have been just gone into a private area and done nothing. We don't know if they actually committed averos. Perish shalom noda shenitma v'noda lo perish lo shenoda lo shenitma v'noda lo shalom nitma. Meaning we don't know exactly what happened. What exactly was going on. So anyway, so that's what the pasuk says. Okay. Now, check one thing. Okay. Oops. Pasuk tesva. V'hevi ha'ish es ishto el hakohen. So it says that the man brings the woman to the Kohen, brings his wife to the Kohen. V'hevi es korbana aleha, and he brings he brings a korbana aleha. Right, he shall bring her offering for her. Asiris haifa, 10 ephah kemach orim, barley flour. Lo yitzok aleh shemen, lo yitain aleh levona, ki minchas kinaos hu. He says that there's no There's no oil over it, and no besamim, no lavona, which is frankincense. Um, uh, it's a minchas zikaron maskeres avon. For it's a meal offering of jealousness, a meal offering of remembrance, a reminder of sin. Okay, so that's what the pasuk means. So let's see exactly what's going on here. So number one, Rashi. You always start with Rashi. That's the most important commentary on Chumash. So Rashi says, "Shelo yeh misolas." It can't be from solas. Solas is fine flour. Seorim, barley. Why barley? Velo chitim, not from wheat. He asta maaseh behema, that she um, potentially did an act of an animal. The korbanah machal behema, and therefore her korban is the food that we give to animals. Right? The Sifsei Chum mentions on this that he quotes Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrahi, who's a commentator in Rashi. Harav odia tam lama miut soles mechitim. De'ein lefaresh shekavana solodia shekema usorim. T'ksiv kama lamayit soles mechitim. Giselle pasha tezil kari be'rafu. Okay, he says that Rashi is explaining why we downgraded from wheat flour to barley flour. Then it says, then Rashi continues, Lo yitzok aleh shemen. We don't pour oil on it. Shelo yehei korban al mehudar, because we don't want it to be a beautiful, a glorious korban, a beautiful korban. Shashemen karoi, or because shemen, because shemen is called light. Vehi asta b'choshech, and her act is an act of darkness. As we do everything to be the opposite of what she had done. Then it says, right? We don't do frankincense. Sheha imahos nikros lavona, because the Sora Rivka Rocha Valera called lavona. Shenema givas halavona vehi persha midarcheyan, and she separated from their path. So again, so this the entire korban of the Sotah is a potential korban of a woman who really went off the path, who really did terrible acts and committed acts of znus. Now, and then it says ki minchas kina osu hakemach hazeh, this flour minchas kina os meoreres aleh shtei kinos. Mentioned this last week that she arouses two types of jealousy. Kinas hamakom, the kinas habal. That not only is the Baal suspicious of her or not happy with her, but Kadosh Baruch Hu is terribly disappointed in her as well. So that's why it's a minchas zikaron maskeres avon. So it mentions the two people. It's kinaos in plural because it's to be Hashem and person is in is upset at her. Okay, the Ramban, almost to the letter, mentions Rashi, mentions all that we just said, and then he says, "V'aldas kol hamefarshim ki minchas kinaos hulomar ki bavur shezos hamincha minchas oneshi gerua lios seorem below shemen ulevuna ki hamincha she'az karasa l'rasan ba solas chitim b'shemen ulona." So Ramban says that it's like a mincha of a punishment, like we're showing her that you really did something really terrible, and therefore we're going to give you a korban that's just off the wall, terrible. Ulefi dati tanki minchas kanot yaksor arosh hapasa yomar sheyavi aish es korbanah al ishto kolomar b'mekoma ki minchas kana osu lahaskir avona. Right, Ramban points out that it goes back to the beginning that it's his korban. I mean, he brings the korban. She's not worthy of bringing her own. Avahu makrib mincha l'shem sheyikane eskinaso v'yinkom nikmaso mimena. Right, Ramban says that the korban is that Hashem should punish her. The tamas orem shetehi saras Hashem chema yotza. right? He says Seorim is the play on the word Sa'ar, which means a storm. Hashem should bring a storm, as we see in the dream of Gidon, the Inan Salil Seorim, that the ball of barley rolled into the camp and knocked over the tents. That was the dream that Gidon overheard two of the people talking when he went to fight the I think it was Midian. Ha'amar beGidon shepasko so l'sara mahumarava v'chein v'chli cheres simesh tishaver v'chli yotzer v'yesh lo sok kilamata b'yosef v'yad ha'isha mahir v'ata hisker nizkaron tchila v'yamar kihi mazkeres avon. Right, she brings about the mention of sin. So essentially, this idea that that she is responsible for all of this. Okay, so that's the essential idea of the korban. So then the Torah continues. V'ikrivo sa kohen, right? It says that the Kohen shall bring her near, right? Right. So we're going to talk about the dance of the Kohen. The Kohen dances around the Mizbeach. Because the goal was not to get her to drink the water. The goal was that if she really committed a terrible avera, that she should she should confess, and if she confesses, then she doesn't drink the water, right? So it says so the Kohen would bring her close, and v'hemidal of Hashem, and she would stand before Hashem. That means like before the Mizbeach. So that's a very important idea that she had to be brought. So she should so to speak face the music. Okay. Now, and the pasuk continues. The Kohen takes water in a pottery, a cup made out of pottery, right? And and then he takes the dust mishkan from the floor of the mishkan. He makes a potion of the dirt on the floor of the mishkan, and he puts it in the water and creates this potion. So what is Mayim Kedoshim? What does that expression mean? So starting with Rashi, Shekadsho Bakir, that he uses the kiyur, the sink that the Kohanim wash every day with. Lefi Shenasa Kiyur Minachoshes Maros Atzovos. Right, we know that the women donated the mirrors, and the kiyur was made from the mirrors that the women donated. Vizeh Pirsha Midarcheim. And this woman who's a Sotah, she went off the derech of the women who were holy, who were Sidkanios, and they were donating their mirrors that they should be part of the Mishkan. So this woman is Persha Midarcheim. She went off their derech. She did not follow in the ways of the great women of Yitzias Mitzrayim that were donating towards the Mishkan. Shahayu Nivalos Levaleim b'Mitzrayim Tagas HaTapuach, that they would have relations with their husbands under the apple tree. Right, he says that that's where they had when the men would come home from the field. Famous medrash. That's one of the reasons why we eat charosas at the seder, is to remind us of Tagas HaTapuach or Raticha, the medrash that the women would meet their husbands under the tree and they would sleep together, and then the women would become pregnant, and we'd have more Jewish children. And that's how the Jewish people in Mitzrayim continued to grow. So this woman, so Dafka, so Rashi says that the kiyur, which was a symbol of the holiness of the Nashim Hayotze Mitzrayim, the women that went out of Mitzrayim, that specifically was the vehicle to test the Sotah. V'chli cheres he hishkisa sanoev yaim meshuba v'kosos meshubachim. Right. So Rashi says that the use of a pottery utensil is a metaphor that she committed adultery and drank wine out of a crystal Leficha tishtamayim amorim b'mekida bezuya shocheres. Therefore, you're going to drink bitter water in a not so lovely kli that in a bezuya a pottery it's not impressive. And that's what she's drinking from. Okay, continuing on. Okay. Second time. It says, Rashi picks up on that she would stand the woman in front of Hashem. Rashi says, but doesn't it already say that? It says in the last pasuk, Ella masiyan hayu osa mimakom lemakom kidei liyaga v'titarev tota v'todeh. Right? It says that the Kohen would tire her out. Right? They would be living out an exercise video. They would be moving all around and all kinds of moves, and he would try to tire her out. And maybe by tiring her out, that would turn her and get her to confess. So that's what it says. Then it says, Uparas Rosh Haisha. He would take off her hair covering. So says Klio Sa'ara Gidei Levazosa. Mikan Lebanos Israel Shagilo Yarosh Ginai Lehem. Right. This is generally assumed to be the makor that a married woman has to cover her hair. It says Paras Rosha that the Kohen disgraced her by uncovering her hair. So most quote that the concept of a shetel, well, not specifically a shetel, but I'm saying the concept of hair covering is a din doraisa, because it's right here in the pasuk. The Mishnah in Maseches Ksuvas says that a woman who walks out in the market without her hair covering is over al das Yehudis, is in violation of the religion of Yehudis, meaning that the Jewish religion. The Gemara over there, the Mishnah says that such a woman can be divorced without and forfeits her ksuba. It's considered a very serious violation. Anyway, not getting to the politics of it, but that's the halacha. It says that the Kohen uncovered her hair, so clearly that a woman a married woman had to cover her hair. Now, Rashi also points out that the woman would be in the place known as the famous Shar Nicanor. She would be brought to the gate of Nicanor, who Shar HaZorah Mizrach was the eastern gate of the Azora, Derek Kol Nechnasim, which is where people would enter. So that's also an interesting thing that the famous Shar Nicanor would play a role in this as well. The Klayakar points out that we mentioned that they took from the dirt of the floor from the Mishkan. So Klayakar points out, Umashaloklem Mikarka Mishkan Venostim Lasocha. The fact that they took from the floor of the Mishkan and put it in the water, Muvua al Dera Shekasavti Lamala. This is based on something that I wrote previously, Parshas Achremos, but Pasuk Vatit Maha Aretz, that the land became defiled. Vayaf Kod Avonah, and I will visit the sin on it. Shekol Makom Sheyesh Avon Arayis, any place that there is the sin of Arayis, of promiscuity, Nifkad ala Aretz. Avon Arishon Shechatu Be'etzo Sepri, below Eitz Pri. Alidei Shenasta Chomer Gam Va'av B'chol Animsayim. So the Klayaka is essentially saying is that the taking from the ground is symbolic of the sin of the Eitz Pari, of the original sin of Adam Arishon that he ate from the wrong fruit, and the land is held accountable when there's promiscuity. So that's another important point. Okay. And just moving through this because there's obviously a lot here, but I don't want to spend like the whole semester on this. Anyway, so let's go a few more minutes. Pasuk Yud Ches. Ve'amida hakohen es ha'isha l'fnei Hashem u'poras u'nasana kapeh, right? And then he puts into her hands, right? Uh, and upon Ace Minchas HaZikaron, Minchas Kinaosi, right? He puts the meal offering into her hands. Ubiyada Kohen you, and in the hand of the Kohen, Mei Amarim Amarim will be the bitter waters that cause curse. Okay, so that's exactly what that means. So Rashi says again, Vinasan Akapeha. Why does he put it in her hands? Liyaga, to tire her out. Ulaiti tarev data v'titvadeh. The second time Rashi makes that comment. The first comment was that the reason why she was walked around many times was to tire her out, so perhaps she will confess. The second time Rashi says it is when they put the mincha in her hands. V'lo yimachas shem hamiyuchad al hamayim, because we're going to see that one of the things that would happen is they would write Hashem's name on a piece of parchment, and it would get erased in the water. But we don't want Chas Shalom to erase Hashem's name. There's a whole word about that, Shalom Bayis, Hashem's name. Okay, not for now, but we'll get to it. Anyway, but the idea was that we tire her out, so she'll confess, and then we won't have to erase Hashem's name. Hama Arim, what does it mean? The cursed water. Hamachasrim Osa Mina Olam, because it's going to remove her from the world. Rashi says. So, right, and the Rebbeinu B'chaya points out that it's called Marim Bitter Al Shem Sofan Nikru Mara, because what will happen at the end to her? Arim Al Shem Ha'alos Hanimchos B'mayim Shem Ekal Limosa, and it's called the cursed water because of the curse put in the water that's going to eventually destroy her. So anyway, so this idea of the Sotah was pretty intense. Okay, one more step. We'll just do one more inyan, and then we'll finish it up next time. Pasuk Gites, Vishbia Usa Kohen. So the Kohen would make her swear. V'amar El Ha'isha, and he would say to the woman, Im lo shachav ishosach, if a man did not sleep with you, v'im lo satis tuma tachas isha, and if you've not strayed from your husband, hinaki, you will be innocent. Mimei hamarim hamarim ha'elam. So you will be innocent from this water. Pashup shot is that the water will not affect you in a negative way. Like if you drink the water, nothing will happen to you. So Rashi says, what does it mean that the Kohen makes a swear mahi ashvua im lo shachav hinaki? If you didn't have relations with someone else, then you should be innocent. Ha im shachav chinki. But if you did, then you should choke. The Rash says something interesting. He says that the reason why he says first, if you're innocent, then nothing will happen to you. He says because when you have a case of dinei nefashos, when there's a case where someone it's a capital case where someone is being tried for their life, we always start with zuchus. Right? We're always looking. We're never looking to kill people. We're always looking to protect people. So that's why it starts that way. That's why it starts that way. Now, okay. Now, viat kisatis taras ishech v'chi nitmes. But if you strayed from your husband and you are tameh, meaning you committed the sin, vayitain ishbal eshechavto mibaladei ishech, and a man other than your husband has slept with you. Um, So that's part. This is all part of the shvua that vishbia kohen es isha vishvuas Allah, and the kohen would then make her swear an oath of curse. V'amar kohen isha yitain Hashem osa le'alav v'lishvua b'soch amech. The kohen swears that it's a, Rashi says a shvua shel klola. It's a shvua of klola that if you had gone off the path and you will matame, then b'soch amech, then b'seis Hashem es yirechech nofeles, and that will cause it will cause your thigh to collapse, of espit neck sava, and your stomach to distend or to swell. So he basically cursed her that Hashem should take care of her and punish her. Right, as Rashbam says, She'im techazev, if you are deceitful to me, tiyeh mekulal, gisha plonish, esav sabitna v'lafa yirecha. You should be like a woman whose stomach swelled and distended. So you have a very serious situation, and what a and it says uvo amayim amarim ma'el b'mayayach laspos betim v'lampil yarech, and it says and the water will cause curse, shall enter into your innards to cause your stomach to distend and your thigh to collapse. V'amar ha'isha amen amen, and the woman has to respond amen amen, meaning Rashi says kabbalah shua, that she accepts the oath of the Kohen. Amen ala Allah, Amen ala Shvua. So meaning Amen ime ish zeh, Amen ime ish acher. Interesting. She says Amen that I was not if I that I didn't have relations with this guy that the husband warned me not to be with, and also while they're getting her to swear. So this is something known in halacha as a gilgul shvua. A gilgul shvua is that once I have you at the table already, let's finish the job. Meaning the husband brought you to the Kohen. Why? Because he suspected you were having relations with this guy. Well, maybe you have a history of it. So when the Kohen makes her swear and she says it's a amen and amen. Why double language amen and amen? So Rashi says, let's get her. Amen, that you didn't have relations with this guy that the husband told you not to be with and you were anyway. And amen, that you never did it from somebody else. Amen, shalos satisi arusa, unesua, shomeres yobam, or kanusa. Or in any scenario that I was in that I wasn't allowed to be with anybody else, that I didn't have any relations. So that was the shvua that the Kohen made her swear, and she had to respond. Okay, I think it's a good place to stop. Pasuk Chof Gimel. We'll stop here. We'll pick up from this point next Sunday morning, Mr. Hashem. I hope to see you then. I think I'll be seeing you. I don't think Rabbi Yosh is going to be back next Sunday. So. And then we'll finish the Parshas of Sotah, and we'll get into the Indian of Nazir. Okay, please listen to this. There's no follow-up assignment, but you are responsible for everything that we learned in this lesson. Okay, take care. Have a great week. Those of you I see on Monday night, I will see you, Mr. Shem, on Monday night.